everyone, it's Anson here from Weekend Garage. Today I'll be showing you guys how to install the custom ambient lighting kit that you just saw in the beginning of the video. We have now our OEM branding and product support. Thank you for everyone for the contributions and support to our previous product. We have made improvements along the way and taken everyone's feedback, so appreciate all of you. To all the new people, this is how the new kit looks like. This is a ambient lighting kit. It has everything you need for the Ram 5th Gen, which is 2019 plus cars. The demo we have here today is a 2022 new body. Whichever trim you have, whether it's the TRX, Bighorn, Lorami, Rebel, Tradesman, whichever trim you have, as long as it's the new body with this interior, this kit will fit perfectly in your truck. While designing this kit, we have made sure that it'll be easy for all the Ram owners to put this kit together and that everyone can do it at home with the help of this video or support. So don't worry about it being hard to install. If you can do an oil change, you can probably put this together by following our video. And if you get stuck, you can email us or call us and we will help you out. So since this is a standalone kit, whether you already have existing ambient lighting or not, it doesn't matter. Our system is controlled independently by our own controllers. All that's needed is a 12-volt power supply from the doors, which is existing, and the fuse panel in the near area, which is existing. Nothing has to be cut from factory or drilled, and it could be removed if you are selling your truck or transferring it onto another vehicle with no damage to your original factory parts or wiring. So to go over what comes with the kit when you purchase from us, first of all, you get a year warranty and full product support for installation and service if there's any issues with your purchase. And once you receive the kit, it'll come something like this. You will receive 5 controllers, 1 master controller, and 4 slave controllers, which are for the door. Master is for the main vehicle, the footwells, and the strips on the dash and center console. So we'll put that aside. Also, the product is in the description below. So if you want to check it out, you can just click on the video description below to check it out. Or email us if you have any questions. It's all listed. And then you'll be receiving 4 footwell lights, 4 door handle lights, and 4 cup holder lights on each door. If you want to purchase an expansion kit for the middle section of the door, we have that available as well, which is this part. That will be in the expansion kit. It's optional. So it includes 1 light here, 1 light for here, and the optional purchase is the middle one that goes in there. And there's also a dash strip that runs along the door edge right here for all 4 doors. So continuation of our kit, here's all the wiring harnesses and everything that you'll need. As you can see, it's all labeled. So it's fairly easy to follow. I'll put that aside. And then you will have your 8 blade lights, which come in an assortment of length, which I'll show you where each and every one goes. So let's do a quick overview. We'll put this box aside. So the first strip, the longest one right here, this will go on the passenger dash glove box. We're going to trim it to length later on. Put that aside. That's the first one. And then we're going to have 6 strips. These will go in the center console, 2 of them, 1 on the driver's side and passenger side, and 1 for each door. So there's 6 in total. Put that aside. This one's a 30 centimeter. This one goes right below the start button. We're going to trim that to length as well once we measure it out. So that's pretty much all that comes with the kit. It has everything you need to get going. The only thing you need to install the rest, I've had laid out right here. You need a hot glue gun, whichever brand you want. Just a few glue sticks. I don't think you even need 3. 1 or 2 would suffice. Impact to speed things up. You can use hand tools as well. Trim tool to pop the door panel off. This is to pop the door panel off as well, just to assist. Phillips Torx, possibly. and a 10 mil and a 7 mil. This is to release the door card, and the 7 mil is to release the fuse panel. This is to take the cover off. This is just a pick tool to take the access panel off to gain access to the 10 mils to take the door panel off. And then since we are going to do proper wiring management, we've got Velcro and wiring harness tape, which is also for sale on our website. This will wrap all the wiring in a nice fleece factory-like setting, so you can't even tell it's aftermarket at all. Once you take the door panel off, it's fully wrapped just like your original door wiring. So once you prepare all these items, let's get started. So first off, I'm going to show you guys how to release the center console. We're going to slide it back. That's where we're going to put our main controller. So to do that, there are some plastic tabs right here. We're going to pop that open, just like so. To pop that trim off easily, as shown, we're going to use our impact. Put that somewhere safe. So you take out that 10 mil. We're going to move the chair to the most forward position because there is a bolt right beside this chair. And it's the same for the passenger side, so I'm not going to repeat the process. You guys can just go on the other side and do the exact same steps. Once you move the chair forward, if you look right there, that's where our access panel is. So we're going to put our pick tool and pop it out like so. It comes out very easily if you have the right tools. You do not need to use brute force or anything, and no damage to any trim will be done. Finish the driver's side. Exact same thing for the passenger side. One flap over here and one in the front. To release the 4 bolts all around, what you want to do is grab this trim piece in here and pull out. There are a bunch of tabs all the way around. Just be careful. The tabs come straight out towards you. A 10 mil over here, and the same for the other side. So this piece, same thing, you put your hand down there, you can pull on it and this piece will come right out. You can use 2 hands. While you're pulling with one hand, use your trim tool to help. We also sell the trim tools to help you disassemble your vehicle with no scratches or damages to any of your clips. So once you give it a little wiggle and you pull it, it'll come out like that. As you can see, no clips are broken during any of the install if you follow our guide and take your time and use the right tools. So we're going to put this somewhere safe. Now we're going to put that somewhere safe and do the identical step for this side. So we're going to take that trim off and then take out the 10 mil. Then the whole center console will slide back. So while we're here, I'm going to show you guys how to drop the fuse panel down, or the access panel to get to the fuse box. There's a 7 mil right there, and then there's another 7 mil right there. I'm going to pick up these 2 screws and put them somewhere safe, and then you're going to use your hand or a trim tool to assist to pull this panel down, just like so. So as you can see, there's straight clips all the way around. If you just apply even pressure, I'm going to switch hands here. If you apply even pressure, all the clips come out. None of them will be damaged. So you can leave it right there. There's not too much strain on any of the wires. And then I'm going to show you guys later on in the video how to wire up the power to the main controller. So you've taken out the driver's side. This side comes out the exact same way. You just got to reach under and you pull it out, and it'll come out fairly easily with 4 clips. None of them will be damaged. And then we're going to put that somewhere safe. And then grab our 10 mil and release that bolt right there. Now you've released it, the whole center console will slide backwards. So I'm going to show you guys on a different camera angle. So once you've released the 6 10 mil bolts all the way around, the whole center console will slide backwards quite easily, like so. As you can see, make sure you don't go too far back because there are cables connected on the rear. But this is more than enough workspace that we need. We're going to mount the appropriate controllers and wiring through here, which I'll give you guys a close-up. If it's not sliding back as easily as you've seen on display just now, you are forgetting a bolt somewhere out of the 6. So I'm going to show you guys a new angle on how we're going to do the wiring on this part. So when you first open up the wiring harness kit, you might be intimidated thinking that's a lot of wiring, but it's extremely simple and straightforward. Let me break it down for you. There are only 3 different cables here. First one being your main power harness. You can identify it because it's on its own and not strapped together with the other ones. And also there's labels on it such as zone 1 and zone 2 lighting, voice box and such. And this is the only one with a fuse and a ground. The fuse we're going to cut off because we'll be using the onboard fuse. So that's the first harness. Second bundle with the 4 white connectors. These are for the 4 slave controllers on your door. So they're bundled together, they're identical. You cannot plug these in backwards. So you can't plug in the slave controller harnesses with the master controller. It simply does not fit. So don't worry about plugging things backwards and blowing it up. That is not possible. Unless you forcefully try to plug it in and break it, but that's a whole nother discussion. So that's our second bundle. Our third are these 2. These are called splitters. What it does is it takes 1 input from our master controller and it splits onto 4. So for our example, our master controller light, or master controller wiring, which is this, we'll have 2 leads on here. One is for zone 1, which is your upper lights on the dash, and one is for zone 2, which is your footwell lights. So this splitter, it will have 1 quick disconnect cable plug into there, and it'll split onto 4. So 4 each for your footwell and 4 each for your dash and console lights. Fairly simple, right? So there's only 3 different ones as we went over. Main power harness, 2 splitters which are identical that goes with the main, and 1 set of 4 slave harnesses. It'll all make sense once you get going because it only fits in one way. You can't plug this in the wrong place. So before we install the master controller, we are just going to wrap up the parts we don't need in the factory harness tape. You can skip the step if you don't care about wire management, but I like to keep things clean, especially since this install is for our buddy Mike. So we're going to use a Velcro tape and wrap up this harness. So the voice box and this orange wire called small light detection we're not going to use. It is for future expansion purposes. So we're just going to wrap up the whole wiring group here. Besides that, wrapping this up will be aesthetically pleasing is if you've got a strong sound system in your truck and your wires are sitting right against the plastic in the interior, it might cause vibrations, which is unnecessary noise, which we do not want. So there are more benefits than just aesthetics to wrapping this up. And it doesn't take much time. The remaining leads we need are the power, positive, negative, zone 1 light, zone 2 light, and this is our hardwired button. So what we're going to do now is we're going to grab our master controller, put the white sticky adhesive on that's included with the kit. Just going to press on it, let the glue settle. Now we're going to grab our power wires, which is the black and the red. Black with the prong and red with the fuse. And we're going to feed it through this hole down here to the fuse panel when time comes to wiring it up. We will also bring the footwell light at the same time, so we're not doing the same thing twice. We're going to be installing our hardwired button just right by the USB chargers, so no drilling is required. So while we're here, I'm going to show you guys how to drop the fuse panel down, or the access panel to get to the fuse box. There's a 7mm right there, and then there's another 7mm right there. I'm going to pick up these 2 screws and put them somewhere safe. And then you're going to use your hand or a trim tool to assist to pull this panel down. Just like so. So as you can see, there's straight clips all the way around. If you just apply even pressure, I'm gonna switch hands here. If you apply even pressure, all the clips come out, none of them will be damaged. So you can leave it right there. There's not too much strain on any of the wires. And then I'm going to show you guys later on in the video how to wire up the power to the main. Okay, so now I'm going to show you guys how to wire up the power for the main power module or the master controller. What you want to do is run the wires behind the dash and behind any controller and existing wiring just to keep it clean. And then we're going to grab our Phillips and hit the screw right here. You can see this once you take the lower knee area panel off, which I showed you guys earlier with the 2 7mm. So we're going to place this right here. No surface prep is required because it is already bare metal. And then we will turn the screw back in just like so. We're going to change the direction so it looks better. Perfect, just like that. Next we will Velcro up any existing onto the trim. Now I'm going to show you guys which fuse and how to connect. Alright, so now that we wired up the ground, I'm going to show you guys how to do the positive side. It will be the same for any trim you have. Your fuse box might look different because you have more options or less options, but more the less. We will be removing this fuse right here. This is called F65. So we're going to grab our needle nose pliers, or if you have a fuse puller, it's the same. We're going to pull out F65, which is below another 10 amp on the right. Make sure you're taking out the top one. This is what we're going to do now. Once you pull out F65, we're going to cut off this fuse that was provided. We're going to cut it off. You can save it for your future project. Cut it off like so. Then we're going to grab the wire and trim about a fingernail length. Like so. After you do that, we're going to twist the cable a little bit, make sure it doesn't fray. Then we're going to grab our original F65 fuse. Then we're going to get the wire and wrap the copper around it. Wrap the copper around one of the prongs enough times. Make sure you don't go too much because it won't fit back in the socket. But essentially what we're doing is piggybacking off the existing 10 amp fuse. So it is still protected by the fuse right here and not directly wired to the system. So let me do a close-up for you guys. So this is what your wiring should look like, wrapped around the leg of the 10 amp fuse that we're piggybacking off of. Then now we're going to insert it back onto the original F65 position, which I'll show you. We're going to bring it behind here just to keep the wiring nice. We're going to locate the fuse. There we go. Make sure it's flush and in there. So now it's being protected by this 10 amp fuse and it is not going anywhere. You can give it a little tug, make sure it's not loose, which it is not. So now your master controller is powered when your ignition is on. Okay, so now that we're finished wiring up the power for the master controller, we're going to look for the cable that comes out of it that says Zone 2 footlight. With that, we are going to pair it with our quick connector splitter, the 1-to-4 splitter. So it only goes in one way with the main one right here. The main one will connect to Zone 2 footlight as a quick disconnect, which I will need 2 hands for. So with this footwell splitter connected, it comes in various lengths. The shortest 2 being for the front 2 seats, so the drivers and passengers, and then the other long two wires and connectors are for the rear, the longest being the farthest from the connector. I'm going to show you guys how to wire up the one under the drivers first so we can close it up. Alright, so we grab the footwell light from the bag, which looks like this. And then there's also 4 included stickers which you can peel off, double-sided, that will go on the back of this to stick on where we need to, which will be right here. And the wiring will go through right there, and the light will go alongside the factory light with our connector being fed through here, right there. It says front. We will stick that on. And also for security, I am gonna put a dab of hot glue before I stick it on, just so it doesn't go anywhere. Now we're gonna fit the rear driver's side footwell lighting. As you can see, it says back. Now we're gonna feed it through the same hole we came from, and then we're gonna put it like so. So we're actually going underneath this trim. all the way down until the middle of the seat. In the middle right there by the motor, that's when we'll come back up and I'll show you how to install it. So once you get the wire to the rear of the vehicle, we're gonna hot glue and also use the double-sided tape to secure it on the white plastic there. That way it's not visible while it's under the seat, but the light is being projected onto the rear floor area. And now we finished the driver's side and the rear driver's side footwell lighting. I'll show you guys how to get the cable here for the passenger side. What you want to do is feed it through there, the hole right down there, and then we're going to go along there behind the trim, and then you're going to use your trim tool to help guide your wire along here. You don't actually have to take it off. You guide the wire in, and there is an existing tab that is partially open, and you can feed your cable through there, and we're going to attach our footwell lighting around here. Okay, so now I'm going to show you guys how to install the two center console lights on the side. What you want to do is grab your Phillips and then open this up right here. Same for the other side. We just have to make it a little loose so we can fit our strip light in there. Doesn't actually have to fully come out. Actually, we're going to grab our second splitter because we already used the first one for the footwell lighting, which is complete. This quick connect will wire onto the wire called Zone 1 LED light, which is right beside the Zone 2 LED light. Just going to plug it in until you hear a click, just like so. We will be wrapping this wire up after because we have quite a bit of slack. It's easier to do this while the lights are powered on, so you can check the fitment along the edge. So I'm going to have my light finish right by the center console, and I'm going to push it into the edge here. I'm going to show you guys in more detail in just a second, and then we're going to do a cut. Make sure when you're cutting the lights, the power is off. You don't want to cut it when it's powered. You're going to short the system. We're going to turn the power off, and then we are going to cut it. And once you determine the length, we're going to make a cut to help with the light bleed. You can put some fleece tape at the end. That's going to make sure no light's going to come out from the end. So we use a trim tool to help us guide it into place. Pretty much you just got to work your way around until you get the right length, and then we're going to put the Phillips back on to clamp everything in place. And then we're just going to hot glue the end here. So this is how it looks from this side. Nice and linear strip, nice and even from start to finish. And we're going to do the same for the other side. Okay, so now we're on the driver's side. Same thing. We're going to fit the light in there. But once you get it decently in there, we're going to go ahead and connect it onto one of the quick connects. So once you're happy with the fitment, by shifting the top side and the lower side left and right, you will get the optimal fitment all along from start to finish. After that, you put the Phillips screw back on, and it'll clamp it into place and it won't be going anywhere. After you put the screw back on, we're going to hot glue that so it's not going to move as well on this side. Alright, so now I'm going to show you guys how to slightly pull out the radio for access so we can install the strip light by the glove box and also by the ignition over there. So what you want to do first is be careful not to scratch anything. It's like a little tray on top of the radio that hides two screws. So once you pick it up, put it right there. There's going to be two Phillips on the left and right of it. You won't miss it. Once you take out the two 10 mils, or the two Phillips, sorry, we are going to pull on top of the radio in order to get it out. If you've never released it before, it might be a little tight, but just take your time pulling it, and then it'll come right out. It's just held in by clips. There we go. It comes off pretty easily, and none of the clips will break. Also, another step you can do is grab a towel to put right here so your screen can rest on your center console. Alright, so as you can see, the screen comes off pretty easily. You just got to pull towards you, applying force on the top and it'll come out. It's all straight clips, nothing will break, and the screen won't flex because it's very rigid. And then what you want to do is be careful with this area because you don't want to scratch your screen or any of the trim. Now we're going to grab our longest cable here, and we're going to measure it out, give it a little excess, measure out the length we need. You can have a little extra just in case because it's going to be hidden behind the radio anyways. And this is the length we're going to go with. Alright, so if you hot glued it properly, it should look something like this. No hot glue is visible at all. The way to achieve this is by hot gluing the rear side of it and then sticking it on, not actually on this trim piece. You hot glue it from the back. So when you close it, so when the ambient lights are not on, you don't even know there's ambient lights in this vehicle. So we have connected it to the splitter. We have one remaining and a spare for expansion purposes. So now I'm going to show you guys how to pop off that piece to install the ignition side. Alright, now to take the ignition side trim out, this is one piece right here. What you want to do is put your finger behind here and just pull the panel towards you. It'll come right out. There's about 4 clips. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to need both hands for this because when you're pulling and the cup pops out, you might knock the radio over, and I don't want to damage the radio. So I'm going to need both hands. So as you can see, just pull it out with my hand. 4 clips like I mentioned, 1, 2, 1 up here, and 1 in the bottom corner. No clips have snapped at all if you follow our process. Nothing will break as it is fairly straightforward. Now we're going to disconnect the ignition button or just put it somewhere safe because we're going to be gluing a strip on here and putting this back so it's behind the trim. But the light will shine through just like that side. Alright, so once you've glued it on, we are now going to plug our ignition button back in and pop the trim back in place. Then we'll move on to closing up the center console, and then I'll show you guys how to do the doors. Alright, so now the center console, dash, and the footwells are all done. We have put the button down here, out of the way and out of sight, so you actually can't even see that there's a switch down there. But it's easy for the driver to switch anytime, brightness, or modes. And also it could be configured with the phone app as well, but this is easy out of the way and you can just change it anytime. Alright, now I'm going to show you guys how to take the door trim off, or the door card. It is fairly straightforward and it's the same for all 4 doors. So there's a slot on the bottom. Put your pick tool inside and pull out towards you, like so. Once you get a little bit out, you can get your metal trim tool to assist, just like so. No damage. All the clips are intact. So a trick to doing this is getting the small clips out first, the black ones, and then the white one. You got to use that angled trim tool that I showed you to help from the back to take it out. That's a 10 mil right there. Your trim tool in there. So for this one, no special tricks required. It comes right out very easily. So total there's going to be 3 10 mils, 1 right there and 2 down here. After that, we can work our trim tool around the door edge. So when you get to this part, make sure you're putting the trim tool on the leather part here and not the plastic. That's part of the window trim, so make sure you're putting it on here. Just work your way around. So now that the door card is off, we're going to release the lock pin right here. And then we're going to release the door handle. Just gotta push this up and disconnect your door or window controller. I'm going to show you a close-up of how to release every single cable. Okay, so in order for us to take off the door card, there's going to be 3 cables. First of all, this is the door handle. You're going to need needle nose pliers or a flathead to press these tabs down one side at a time while feeding it back, and then this will pop right out. This is the window switch. You just hold the quick disconnect and pull it down. This one, there's no locking mechanism. You just pull it down. And that's it for the door. Alright, so now we're looking at the door card sitting on a nice piece of foam. Now we're going to insert this strip of light into the top trim right here. So how you can insert it is just by pressing it in. So it's not designed to go all the way to the end, because if it's going all the way to the end, there's going to be light leak, and that doesn't look good. Alright, so now that we've installed the strip light, I'm going to show you guys how to install the door handle light. How you can differentiate that it's a door handle light is that it has a disconnecting piece, just like so. The other door bowl light does not have this. So what you want to do first is put the disconnecting piece through the middle of the door handle, just as shown. I'm going to flip the door card around and have the light plug into the little piece that is coming through, just as shown. You want to make sure that it's uniform on all 4 doors. So if you have it on the middle of the door handle, that it's the same for all the other doors. So you don't want one in the front position, one in the middle, one in the back. That doesn't look good. So it's just pointing out that it is indeed in the middle here. And then after that, and you're happy with the location, we're going to grab our hot glue gun and secure it into place. This hot glue is pretty strong and it comes off easily when it's time to disconnect. So it is a perfect tool for this job. Not too much is required because it bonds very well to the plastic backing of the door card. We're going to let it dry, pull off these spider webs, and then we will proceed onto the drink holder light. So this is what the drink holder light looks like. It's a little smaller than the door handle light, but it is the same concept and the same LED chip. The door holder light just has a light distributing piece that goes on the other side to have a more uniformed light distribution. So now we're going to locate where we're going to install it. I'm going to install it at an angle because I think it looks better that way. So if we're looking at the top here, it's going to be this slanted hole, the first one where it starts to curve. Just make sure you use the same hole for all 4 doors. As I mentioned before, keep it uniform and nice. So we're just going to put it in the hole, apply some hot glue, and let it dry off. So now we're going to grab one of the slave controllers and one of the harnesses. So we're going to plug it in, slave controller with the connector. It only goes in one way, so you can't plug it in backwards. You hear a nice satisfying click. Then after that, I'm going to show you guys how to tap into the power before we glue it onto the panel here. So we're actually going to secure the slave controller onto the panel first before we continue. Just a heads up for you guys. If you guys are installing this on your door panel, make sure your wiring harness connector is facing downwards, because if there's humidity behind the door, water is not going to follow the harness and short out your controller. So make sure the wire input is facing down. Nice and out of the way on the harness. In case you need to take the door card off for service, you can disconnect it from the controller or from each light separately. So in order to tap into the power, orange is positive and black is negative. So orange purple right here, we are going to plug it in. And as for negative, it's going to be the black solid. These will not go anywhere once it's in place. do a test. Just wiggle it, make sure it doesn't fall out. If you install it properly, it will not move at all. So now we got positive, negative. We're going to plug it in to the controller. We will now be installing the door panel back on, and I'll be showing you guys how to install. So zone 1 LED light is for the longest strip on the top. Zone 2 door bowl light is for the lowest drink holder light, and zone 2 door bowl foot light is for the handle. So there's only one for the longest strip and two for the other two lights. So we're going to put the door card back on and connect everything back up. So you can keep your ignition on. We have a battery charger here, so we're going to keep it on. So once we plug it in, we know everything works. Before we seal it back up, we're going to identify the cables. We'll put it down here. So first wire, zone 1 LED light, that's the top strip. Every wire has a quick disconnect for service. Then next up is the zone 2 light right here. Last but not least, the drink holder light. So if you installed everything correctly, it should look something like this. It'll automatically synchronize to other lights in the vehicle. And we're now going to put everything back together. To put the panel back, all you got to do is hit around the corners and to put the 3 10 mils back on. That's it for this door. And repeat the process for all the other doors. We got 3 remaining. I'll show you how to wire the power for the driver's side door and passenger, because that's a little different, but it's the same. I'm just showing you which color the tap will go into. Okay, so this is the driver's side door. I'm going to show you guys where to tap the power for your slave module. It's fairly simple. There's a thick red right here and a thick black one. Those are the two we're going to use. Pretty straightforward, not like the rear door where it's orange purple. Here it's red on red and black on black. Make sure your taps are in all the way and not dangling, because if it's in properly, look, it is not coming out. The whole harness can dangle on it and it will not have connection issues at all. Now we're going to stick our slave controller on the top here. Make sure it's facing down and it's not blocking any part numbers. So we're going to have our double-sided tape and some glue. We're going to place it right here. Now that's not going to go anywhere. And there's a quick disconnect for the harness and quick disconnect for every single light cable. So this is the driver's side door. It's going to be the same strip light along the edge here, and the wire will hide inside this trim. It'll wrap perfectly around. There's an edge right there, and it'll finish right here. And then we're going to glue on the light and the pocket light as well. I'm close to finishing up the install. That's what it currently looks like. Pretty decent. Not really any hard parts where we get stuck at, because this is fairly straightforward if you guys follow the steps. I'll show you guys a finished product in a bit. Okay everyone, so this is what the finished product looks like if you have followed the guide. RAM should have came like this from the factory. So there's a lot of modes that this could do, and brightness in different zones. So we could have that door pocket, lower drink light down there, and the footwell to be one color or brightness, and then the top strip lights to be another color or brightness. This could be configured through the app for optimized customization, or you could just hit the button that we have under the dash. And we'll cycle through some modes for you guys to see what this could do. I think there's over 30 modes and over hundreds of customizable patterns you guys can do. So like one color top, different color on the bottom like I mentioned. So when your vehicle turns on, it'll automatically synchronize and turn on everything. And when you turn off the truck, everything will turn off automatically on the last saved set. Anyways, everyone, hope this video helped you guys out. Let me know if you have any questions regarding the install or product. You can shoot us an email right here, or check out our website in the description below. Thank you for watching, everyone. Hope you have a wonderful day.